Princess Zara stood on the command bridge of her flagship, the massive vessel cutting through space like a silver blade. Her purple skin bore fresh scars from the final battle, and her golden eyes reflected the distant stars. The war was over. After 3 long years of fighting across the galaxy, the enemy forces had finally surrendered. Around her, the bridge crew celebrated. Officers from the Velkan Empire raised their weapons in victory salutes. The communication systems buzzed with messages of triumph from Allied fleets. Victory songs echoed through the ship's corridors. But Zara felt nothing except emptiness. Her hand moved to the small device at her throat. It was crude compared to Velkan technology, made from simple metals and basic circuits. A human device. Tom had built it for her before she left for war. For months now, it had remained silent. "Princess," called her advisor, Commander Nex. His tall frame approached her position. "The High Council requests your immediate return to the capital. They wish to plan your victory celebration." Zara nodded but did not speak. Her mind wandered to memories from 4 years ago, before the war began. Before everything changed, the memory started with pain. Sharp, burning pain as her scout ship crashed on a remote mining station. She had been traveling as a diplomat, trying to prevent the very war that eventually consumed the galaxy. Her ship's engines failed during a routine hyperspace jump, forcing an emergency landing on Station Beta 7. The station was small and dirty, located on the edge of civilized space. Most species avoided such places. Only humans and other minor races worked there, mining rare crystals for the major galactic powers. When Zara's ship crashed in the station's docking bay, she expected no help. Minor species usually feared getting involved with Velkan nobility. But Tom was different. He was the station's chief engineer, a young human with brown hair and kind eyes. While others stayed away from the crash site, Tom ran toward it. He pulled Zara from the burning wreckage without hesitation, even though her royal guard's weapons were pointed at him. "Are you hurt?" Tom had asked, his voice filled with genuine concern. Zara remembered being surprised by his question. Most beings addressed her with formal titles and careful words. Tom simply wanted to know if she was injured. The station's medical bay was basic, but Tom insisted on helping the station doctor treat her wounds. He worked through the night, using his engineering skills to repair her damaged breathing apparatus. When Zara asked why he was helping her, Tom gave a simple answer. "Because you needed help," he said. That's enough reason for anyone. During her recovery, Zara learned about human nature. Tom shared stories of his home world, Earth. He told her about human customs, their strange habit of forming friendships with any species willing to accept them. He played music from his personal collection, melodies that spoke of hope and connection across vast distances. "Humans are curious," Tom explained one evening as they watched the stars through the medical bay window. "We want to understand everything and everyone. Most species think we're weak because we're not the strongest or smartest. But we have something else." "What is that?" Zara asked. "We remember our friends," Tom said. "No matter how far apart we are, no matter how long it takes, we don't forget the people who matter to us." Zara found herself spending more time with Tom than necessary. Her ship could have been repaired in days, but she stayed for weeks. She told herself it was for diplomatic reasons, learning about human culture. The truth was more complicated. Tom showed her parts of the station she would never have seen otherwise. The hydroponic gardens where workers grew food from a dozen different worlds. The recreation areas where humans played games with alien species who had become their friends. The workshop where Tom built devices to help other species adapt to human technology. "Why do you do this?" Zara asked, watching Tom modify a communication device for a Keth worker whose species used different frequencies. "Because we're all stuck out here together," Tom replied, focusing on his work. "Might as well make it better for everyone." The Velkan Empire had taught Zara that relationships were based on power, trade agreements, and mutual benefit. Tom's approach confused her. He helped others without expecting anything in return. He formed genuine friendships with beings his own species barely knew existed. One night, Zara prepared for sleep in the guest quarters Tom had arranged for her. She realized something that frightened her. She did not want to leave this place. She did not want to return to the cold halls of the royal palace. She wanted to stay here, in this simple station, with this strange human who treated her like a person instead of a princess. The next morning, Tom found her in the observation deck, staring out at space, having second thoughts about leaving. He asked, joining her by the window. "How did you know?" Zara replied. "Lucky guess," Tom said with a smile. "You've been looking at the stars like you're trying to memorize them." Zara turned to face him. "My people expect me to return. I have duties, responsibilities. The galaxy is moving toward war, and my voice might be the only thing that prevents it." Tom nodded seriously. "Then you should go. The galaxy needs people who care about peace." "But what if I fail?" Zara asked. "What if war comes anyway? What if I never see this place again?" Tom was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It was rough and simple, clearly handmade. "Communication transmitter," he explained, offering it to her. "Works on most frequencies across this sector. If you ever need to talk to someone, or if you just want to hear a friendly voice, use this." Zara took the device, feeling its weight in her palm. "You made this for me?" "Humans have a saying," Tom replied. "Distance means nothing when someone means everything." The memory shifted to her departure day. The entire station came to see her off. Workers from a dozen species wished her well. Children who had never seen Vulcan royalty waved from observation windows. Tom walked her to the docking bay, where her repaired ship waited. "Promise me something," Zara said as they reached her ship. "Anything," Tom replied. "If war comes, if I have to fight, promise me you will be here when I return. Promise me this place will still exist." Tom's expression grew serious. "I promise. No matter what happens, I'll be here waiting for you." Zara boarded her ship and left Station Beta 7 behind. But she kept Tom's communication device with her always. The war came within months of her return. Despite her diplomatic efforts, the major galactic powers chose violence over peace. The Vulcan Empire called her to lead their military forces. Princess Zara became General Zara, commander of the Imperial fleet. For 3 years, she fought across the galaxy. She won victories and suffered defeats. She watched good soldiers die for causes they barely understood. She made decisions that saved thousands and destroyed thousands more. Through it all, Tom's communication device remained her constant companion. They talked whenever possible. Brief conversations between battles, longer discussions during quiet periods. Tom told her about life on the station, how workers from different species continued to live and work together despite the chaos surrounding them. Zara told him about the war, about her hopes for peace, about her fears for the future. "The galaxy is burning," she told him after a particularly difficult battle. "Sometimes I wonder if we're fighting for anything worthwhile." "You're fighting for the chance to rebuild," Tom replied. "When this war ends, someone needs to be left who remembers how to make peace." Their conversations became shorter and less frequent as the war intensified. Communication channels were monitored, and contact with humans was discouraged by Vulcan command. The last time Zara heard Tom's voice was 8 months ago, just before a major offensive. "Be safe," his voice had crackled through the device. "Remember, I'll be waiting." Now the war was over, and Zara stood on her flagship, victorious but empty. Around her, the crew prepared for the journey home. But home felt like a foreign concept. The Vulcan capital held no warmth for her. The royal palace was filled with politicians and generals who saw her only as a useful weapon. Princess Commander Nex approached again. "We have received disturbing intelligence reports." Zara turned to face her advisor. "What reports?" "Station Beta 7 was attacked 18 months ago," Nex said carefully. "Enemy raiders targeted mining operations in that sector. The station sustained heavy damage. Many casualties reported." The words hit Zara like physical blows. "What about survivors?" "Unknown," Nex replied. "The station went dark after the attack. No further communications received." Zara gripped the railing of the command bridge. Tom's promise echoed in her memory. He had sworn to wait for her. But promises could not stop explosions. Friendship could not deflect energy weapons. "Princess, I must advise against any detours," Nex continued. "The High Council expects your immediate return. Delays would be seen as a neglect of duty." Zara looked out at the stars, the same stars she had watched with Tom years ago. Her duty was to her empire, to the victory celebrations, to the political meetings that would reshape the galaxy. But something deeper called to her, something Tom had awakened during those weeks on his station. "Plot a course for Station Beta 7, she ordered. "Princess!" "I strongly recommend," Nex began. "You heard my order," Zara said firmly. "Tell the High Council I will return after completing one final mission." The bridge crew exchanged glances but began working at their stations. The massive flagship changed course, turning toward the outer rim of the galaxy. Toward a small mining station that might no longer exist. Toward a human who might be dead. Toward a promise that might have been broken by forces beyond anyone's control. As the ship entered hyperspace, Zara held Tom's communication device in her hands. She pressed the activation button and spoke into the transmitter. "Tom, this is Zara. I'm coming home." Silence answered her. But Princess Zara, veteran of 1,000 battles, winner of the greatest war in galactic history, refused to believe that silence meant the end. Humans kept their promises. Tom had taught her that. She would believe it until she saw proof otherwise. The journey to Station Beta 7 would take for days. For days to discover if friendship could survive war. For days to learn if love was stronger than loss. For days to find out if a human's promise meant more than an empire's expectations in the darkness of hyperspace. Surrounded by the quiet hum of the ship's engines, Zara waited and hoped. 4 days later, Princess Zara's flagship dropped out of hyperspace near the coordinates of Station Beta 7. The command bridge fell silent as the main view screen activated. What they saw made several officers gasp in shock. The station was still there, but it looked nothing like Zara remembered. The original structure remained, but massive additions had been built around it. New docking bays extended in all directions. Defense platforms floated nearby, bristling with weapons. Ships of dozens of different designs sat moored to the station's expanded ports. "Princess, that station has been heavily modified," reported the scanning officer. "Multiple species signatures detected. High energy readings from defense systems." Commander Nex stepped forward, his expression worried. This could be a trap. Enemy forces might have taken control of the station. Zara studied the view screen carefully. The modifications were impressive, but something about them seemed familiar. The design philosophy reminded her of Tom's work. Practical and efficient, rather than elegant. "Open communication channels," she ordered. "All frequencies." The communication officer worked at her station for several minutes. "Princess, I'm detecting multiple active channels. The station appears to be coordinating traffic from several dozen ships. Can you establish contact?" Zara asked. "Tempting now," the officer replied. Static filled the bridge speakers, followed by overlapping voices in multiple languages. Finally, a clear voice cut through the noise. "This is Station Beta 7 traffic control. Unknown vessel. Please identify yourself and state your business." Zara's heart stopped. The voice was older, more tired than she remembered, but unmistakably human. Unmistakably Tom's voice. "Tom," she whispered, then louder. "Tom, this is Zara." 8. Silence filled the communication channel. The bridge crew waited, watching their princess with curious expressions. Finally, Tom's voice returned, filled with emotion. "Zara. Princess Zara. Is it really you?" "It's me, Tom. I kept my promise. I came back." Another pause, then Tom's voice again, stronger now. "Docking Bay 12 is being prepared for you. Come home, princess." Zara closed her eyes, feeling tears she had not shed in years. "Prepare a shuttle," she told her crew. "I'm going down alone." "Princess, I must protest," Commander Nex said. "We don't know the security situation on that station." "Tom would never let harm come to me," Zara replied firmly. "Wait here. I'll contact you when I'm ready." The shuttle bay doors opened, and Zara piloted a small craft toward the station. As she approached docking bay 12, she could see figures waiting for her. The bay was larger than she remembered, modified to accommodate bigger ships. But the basic structure remained the same. The shuttle settled onto the landing platform with a soft thud. Zara sat in the pilot's seat for a moment, suddenly nervous. For years had passed since she last saw Tom. War changed people. What if he was different now? What if she was different? The airlock cycled, and Zara stepped onto the station. The first thing she noticed was the smell. Instead of the metallic odors of a mining station, the air carried scents of growing things, plants and flowers from different worlds. Tom stood near the airlock, and Zara's breath caught in her throat. He looked older, lines around his eyes that had not been there before. His brown hair showed touches of gray, but his smile was exactly the same. "Hello, Princess," he said simply. Zara ran to him, embracing him tightly. For a moment, the war and the years between them disappeared. She was just a lost traveler who had found her way home. "I thought you were dead," she said, her voice muffled against his shoulder. "They told me the station was attacked." "It was," Tom replied, holding her at arm's length to look at her face. "We rebuilt." "We always rebuild." "We?" Zara asked. Tom smiled and gestured toward the airlock exit. "Come see what we've done." They walked through corridors that Zara remembered, but everything had changed. The walls were covered with growing plants. Art from different cultures decorated the passages. Children's laughter echoed from somewhere ahead, voices speaking in languages from across the galaxy. "Tom, what is this place?" Zara asked. "Still a mining station," Tom replied. "But other things too. Refugee center, mostly. Safe haven for anyone who needs it." They entered what had once been the main work area. Now it was a vast commons, filled with beings from species Zara had never seen in one place. Humans worked alongside Velkan citizens, Keth engineers, morph traders, and dozens of others. Children played together regardless of their species. Families shared meals at long tables. "How many people live here?" Zara asked, amazed by the activity around her. "About 50,000, Tom said casually, though the number changes daily. Some move on when they find new homes. Others arrive seeking shelter. An elderly Velkan woman approached them, her purple skin marked with the scars of age. "Tom, is this the princess you told us about?" "Grandmother Kess. This is Princess Zara," Tom said. "Zara, Grandmother Kess, was one of our first refugees. She's been helping run the schools." "Schools?" Zara asked. "Children need education," Grandmother Kess replied in accented but clear galactic standard. "Tom believes all children should learn together." "Human idea. Very good idea." As they walked through the station, Tom explained what had happened during the war. When the conflict began, displaced families started arriving at Station Beta 7. They had nowhere else to go. The major powers were too busy fighting to help refugees. At first, it was just a few families, Tom said, as they entered a hydroponics bay 3 times the size of the original. But word spread. Humans have a reputation for helping anyone who asks. "But the attack," Zara said. "Commander Nex said enemy raiders hit this station." Tom's expression grew serious. "They tried. 3 different times, actually. Pirates mostly looking for easy targets. They thought a refugee station would be defenseless." "What happened?" "Turns out, refugees make excellent defenders when they're protecting their new home," Tom replied with a slight smile. "Amazing what people can accomplish when they work together." They continued the tour, visiting workshops where humans and aliens collaborated on engineering projects. Medical bays staffed by doctors from 12 different species. Recreation areas where beings who had never met before the war now called each other friends. "Tom, this is incredible," Zara said as they entered the modified command center. "But how did you manage all this?" "The resources, the coordination, the defense systems." "Human networking," said a new voice. Zara turned to see a young human woman approaching. "I'm Sarah, Tom's assistant. During the war, humans throughout this sector started working together. We created supply routes, communication networks, safe passage corridors. Unofficial, of course." The major powers were too busy fighting to notice us. Sarah is being modest, Tom said. She organized most of the network herself. Turns out humans are very good at logistics when we need to be. Zara looked around the command center, noting the sophisticated communication equipment and tactical displays. This is a military operation. It's a defensive operation, Tom corrected. We never attacked anyone, but we protected anyone who needed protection. Over the next several hours, Tom showed Zara the full scope of what had been built. The station was the center of a network that stretched across 3 sectors. Hidden supply depots provided food and medical supplies to refugee populations. Communication relays allowed separated families to find each other. Safe houses offered temporary shelter to anyone fleeing the war. The galactic powers knew we were here, Sarah explained, as they sat in Tom's office, drinking tea made from earth plants. But we never took sides. We helped everyone equally. Hard to justify attacking a humanitarian operation, even when some of those galactic powers ordered you to stop. Zara asked. Especially then, Tom said firmly. Humans have this stubborn idea that helping people is always the right thing to do. Doesn't matter what governments say about it. As evening fell, Tom took Zara to his private quarters. They were simple but comfortable, filled with mementos from the refugees he had helped over the years. Photos of families who had moved on to new homes. Letters of thanks in dozens of languages. Small gifts crafted by grateful children. Tom, I have to ask, Zara said as they sat by the window, looking out at the stars. Why didn't you leave? When the war started, when the attacks came, you could have evacuated to safer territory. Tom was quiet for a long moment, considering his answer. I made you a promise. I said I would be here when you returned. That's not the only reason, Zara said softly. No, Tom admitted. The truth is, someone had to stay. These people needed help, and humans are good at providing help. We don't do it because we expect rewards or because it benefits us politically. We do it because it's the right thing to do. Even when it's dangerous? Especially when it's dangerous, Tom replied. During the worst of the fighting, we had ships arriving daily with wounded civilians. Families separated by the war. Children who had lost their parents. Someone had to help them. Zara reached for his hand, noticing the calluses and scars that had not been there before. You could have died. So could you, Tom said, squeezing her hand gently. But you fought your war, and I fought mine. Different battles, same purpose. Protecting people who needed protection. My war was about territory and politics, Zara said. Your war was about compassion. Both wars mattered, Tom replied. Without your military victories, the fighting would have continued. Without our humanitarian networks, millions more would have suffered. The next morning, Zara toured the station's newest additions. A library containing texts from hundreds of worlds. An art gallery where beings expressed their experiences through creative works. A memorial garden honoring those who had died during the war, regardless of their species or which side they had fought for. This is what the galaxy should be, Zara said, as they stood in the memorial garden. Surrounded by flowering plants from dozens of different worlds. This is what the galaxy can be, Tom corrected. The war is over. Now comes the harder part. Building something better.
The High Council expects me to return to the capital, Zara said.
There will be victory celebrations, political meetings, decisions about how to govern the peace. And you should go, Tom said. The galaxy needs leaders who understand the cost of war. Zara turned to face him. What if I don't want to go back to being a princess? What if I want to stay here and help build something better? Tom smiled. The same warm smile she remembered from years ago. Then you stay. The galaxy has plenty of politicians. It needs more people who care about helping others. People will not understand, Zara said. A Velkan princess abandoning her duties for a human refugee station. Your people will understand eventually, Tom replied. Humans have learned that the best way to change minds is through example. Show them what's possible, and they'll want to build it themselves. That afternoon, Zara sent a message to her flagship. Commander Nex and the crew were to return to the Velkan capital with news of her survival and the war's end. She would follow later after completing what she called essential diplomatic work. Diplomatic work? Sarah asked, overhearing the conversation. Learning about human methods of peacekeeping, Zara replied with a smile. Over the following weeks, Zara worked alongside Tom and the station residents. She helped coordinate supply shipments to other refugee centers. She used her royal connections to negotiate safe passage for families trying to reunite. She learned about the human approach to problem solving. Find out what people need, then find a way to provide it. Humans don't think about problems the way other species do. Tom explained one evening as they reviewed reports from across the network. Most species ask, how does this benefit my group? Humans ask, how can we make this better for everyone? Is that why you succeeded, where governments failed? Zara asked. Governments think in terms of policies and regulations, Sarah added, joining their conversation. Humans think in terms of relationships and trust. We build networks based on friendship, not formal treaties. Your approach seems more effective, Zara observed. My empire's refugee assistance programs helped thousands. Your network helped millions. Different tools for different jobs, Tom said diplomatically. But yes, sometimes personal connections work better than official channels. A month after Zara's arrival, she received an urgent communication from the Vulcan High Council. The message was brief but clear. Return immediately or face charges of desertion. I have to go back, Zara told Tom and Sarah as they gathered in the command center. For how long? Sarah asked. I don't know, Zara replied honestly. There will be trials for war criminals, peace negotiations, reconstruction planning. The political process could take years. Then we'll be here when you get back, Tom said simply. Tom, I can't ask you to wait for me again, Zara protested. You've already given up 4 years of your life keeping a promise to me. Tom replied, died. This work is important. These people need help. Whether you're here or not, we'll continue building something better. But what about us? Zara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Tom moved closer, taking her hands in his. Humans have another saying, love isn't about being in the same place at the same time. It's about working toward the same goals, caring about the same things, building something together even when you're apart. Tears in her golden eyes. Then go do what you need to do, Tom said. Represent our work in those political meetings. Show them what we've built here. Help them understand that there's another way to solve problems. Zara's shuttle launched the next morning, carrying her back to her flagship and the responsibilities she could not abandon. But she carried with her something new, a vision of what cooperation could accomplish. An understanding that strength came not from military might or political power, but from the simple human ability to care about others. As her ship entered hyperspace, heading toward the Vulcan capital, Zara held Tom's communication device in her hands. This time, when she activated it, his voice came through clearly. Remember, Tom said, distance means nothing when someone means everything. Build something beautiful, princess. We'll be here when you're ready to come home, Zara smiled, looking out at the stars. She had a galaxy to help rebuild, and now she knew exactly how to do it. The human way. Through friendship, trust, and the stubborn belief that everyone deserved help when they needed it. The war was over. The real work was just beginning.